The arrival of the industrial age changed the relationship among time, labor, and capital. Factories could produce around the clock, and they could do so with greater speed and volume than ever before. A machine that runs 12 hours a day will produce more widget than one that runs for only 8 hours per day, and a machine that runs 24 hours per day will produce the most widget of all. As such, at many factories, the workday is divided into 8-hour shifts so that there will always be people on hand to keep the widget machine humming. Industrialization raised the potential volume of every single work hour. The more hours you worked, the more widget you produced, and the more money you made, and thus wages became tied to effort and production. Labor, previously guided by harvest cycles, became clock-oriented, and society started to reorganize around new principles of productivity. In marketing research, consumers commonly participate in interview, focus groups, or the like, during which they indicate their desire, preference, or the marketing term their want. Some methods also try to detect the consumer emotion, however, with varying rate of success. Such behavioral methods, where humans watch how fellow humans react when exposed to certain brain or products, manually coding and categorizing their emotion, and labor intensive and consequently are rarely appealed in small sample size. Human inspired AI makes such methods possible on large scale, and even delivering instant instant instantaneous result will be possible. For example, via facial recognition in a supermarket, one might detect shoppers' emotions facing a shelf displaying the products of a new product launch. Collecting a vast amount of data from all supermarkets participating in the respective launch nationwide would yield quite solid result. Deborah Harris and Patty Gifford study of representations of chefs in U.S. food media find significant difference between how male and female chefs are portrayed. Great male chefs are repeatedly represented as dedicated, creative, and highly trained professionals, and often depicted as iconoclastic rule breaks with a unique vision or style. In contrast, female professional chefs are often judged in terms of home style cooking, which give the training and skill required, and by representing their food as amateur and homely, linked them to domestic tradition rather than the professional standard, which are crucial to recognition in the culinary field. In this way, the operation of the culinary tradition more highly and excluding women from criteria used to classify great chef. This limited a female chef's ability to gain recognition and accrue the economic, culture, and symbolic reward that recognition generates. It is sometimes argued that the spread of digital technology will serve to equalize opportunity from small companies as well as established media giants. Digital digitization and the growth of the internet are indeed reducing many barriers to market entry and creating opportunities for smaller enterprises and firms offering skills in new forms of content creation. However, the digital environment favors strong and recognition brands. In the world of one UAK publishing, executive brands make it easier for the customer to make choice as the world gets more complicated without recognizable brands and worthwhile levels of consumer awareness. Potential newcomers to the online universe may well find that the higher initial cost involved the establishing an online presence typically involving extensive campaigns on conventional media represent an effective deterrent to market entry. Large and established media concept providers with strong brands and access to valuable back categories of images. Text and sound have several advantages when it comes to exploitation of the additional scale economies made published by digitization. People are confronted with the cognitive dissonance error used by the thought that one has stereotypes of others that guide one's social judgment, and the thought that one is a good, fair, and rational thinker. According to dissonance theory, one of these cognitions must change in order for dissonance to be eased. Which one change? It is almost always the cognition that is most open to change, and in this case, it is one's cognitions about stereotyping, rather than think that we use stereotypes to evaluate others. We simply do not allow ourselves to come to such a conclusion, and we instead convince ourselves that assessment of the that we are indeed assessment of the information about the target individual. In other words, we often either do not realize or do not consciously acknowledge that we do indeed stereotype others, or that our stereotype derived impression of them might be inaccurate. This self-delusion helps us maintain our stereotypes while reducing the possibility for cognitive dissonance related to our self-concept.